It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on a terrific Tuesday. The Grizzlies opened with an explosion last night. 42 points in the first quarter. Had a 21-point lead early in that second quarter. And then after the explosion came the implosion. They gave up 50 points in the second quarter. We'll talk about that in a second. Both National League series, one-sided. Really, there's only one good series so far. We talk baseball today with Tim Doolin, shifting him over. Ron Higgins off today. So we'll talk the LDSs, maybe Manager of the Year, maybe MVPs of the year. That will come your way at the bottom of the hour with our good friend Tim Doolin. The Tigers are in several projections in the college football poll. One's got them playing Ole Miss. One's got them playing Oklahoma. They're the 12th seed in both. But in truth, I've seen USF in some college football scenarios. I have seen South Florida and the Green Wave. The Green Wave not ranked in either of the polls. In the one poll, you've got Memphis in 23 at the AP, and South Florida's in the top 25. They are not in the top 25 of the coaches poll. That's where Memphis sits at 25. We'll talk all of that with the Tigers beat writer from the Commercial Appeal, Jonah Dillon. That will be in our final segment of the day. So last night, no Ja, no Triple J, no BC, no Brandon Clark, which made rebounding a chore. And despite the great first quarter, Detroit was a much better team. 128-112, that was your final. The good things, Ty Jerome looks fantastic. They did make 23s last night. 23s. At, I think it was a 41 or a 42% clip. That's pretty impressive. They got killed on the boards, but think about it. No Triple J, no Edey, no BC. I don't know what they're going to do until those guys come back, because who are you relying on? You know, the best rebounder in the fourth quarter last night was the short stint Cam Spencer had. At least that little dude hustles. G.G. Jackson could probably be an answer. I don't know. Maybe Vince Williams a little bit. They are really short. You know, they got Santi. And the guy that's filling in until Zach Edey comes back. But tough night on the boards for sure. And Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons is just a joy to watch. He is a really, really good player. Cedric Coward, who the Grizzlies maneuvered to get up to draft him, and he hadn't played since, I think, last November. Remember, he got injured with a shoulder, missed most of his last year in college, and didn't play summer league, and it looked like it. I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know if it was rust. He seemed pretty confident afterwards, but he goes 0 for 7, had 1 point in the game. Has a good-looking body. It's an NBA body, but we'll have to wait and see on all of that. And let's not forget, it is just an exhibition game. But in the first exhibition game for Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks, he looked like an all-star, at least from all the accounts that I've read. I didn't see any of it. It was nice to have Pete and Brevin and Fish back. Watched their broadcast last night. They haven't missed a beat. And we'll just have to wait and see, because I think Detroit's going to be a pretty good team. And when you don't have the two main front court guys, really three up front guys, because you had no Zach Edey either. It was rough, and I don't know what you can make of Ja Morant. I mean, here's a guy I would figure, and these injuries are real. He's not making this stuff up, and they're going to be precautious. It's just an exhibition game. And they're playing 5 of those. Some have only played 4. Most are playing 5. So it really doesn't matter. But you'd like to get Ja in game shape. I know he's in good shape, but it is worrisome because he's chomping at the bit to play. He was injured half the year last year. The year before that, he didn't play. And now you're looking at you can't even play in the first preseason game just to play 5 minutes, 7 minutes because you rolled your ankle. And you're sitting there going, this can't really be happening again. But it did. But it is an exhibition game. I mentioned the college football playoff projections. So ESPN has in one of their deals, because they've got like 3 guys who project. One of them, they are a 12 seed playing Ole Miss. In another one, and this might have been Athlon, they are the number 1 seed. They're the number 12 seed playing Ole Miss, the 5 seed in Oxford. The other would be in Norman, Oklahoma, 12 seed again against a 5. But in all honesty, Athlon, CBS, all the places I've looked, USF is in 1-5 slot. Tulane is in 1-5 slot. 12 slot playing 5s. Well, Tulane does have 2 Power 4 wins. They've got one against Duke, which seems to be becoming a better team, and one against Northwestern that is, I don't think, a very good team, and I think that they'll be looking for a new coach here pretty darn soon. The Tigers, by the way, for those that did not pick them in the college football playoff projections, would be playing in Fenway against an ACC team, and then a couple of them have them playing in the Gasparilla Bowl. I know Vandy is in one of those projections. I can't remember what the other projection was, but that would be in Tampa, the Gasparilla Bowl. I guess the projected total ESPN, they polled everybody on this, I guess. 6 SEC teams get in, 3 Big Ten teams get in. 1 Big 12, 1 ACC, which by the way is Miami, which is the number 1 overall seed, and then 1 group of 5, which was Memphis, in the big, I guess compiled the compilation pick. Tennessee at Alabama in that first round by that compilation group, too. That would be a fun one to watch. But 6 SEC and 3 Big Ten, I don't think that's going to sit well with Petiti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, if that is the way it works out. Monday Night Football last night, truly an interesting game. And it's, are we seeing the changing of the guard here? Kansas City used to win comeback games, correct, Landon Schmidt?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Isn't that what Patrick Mahomes did? Tables turned last night. Mm-hmm. It was Trevor Lawrence in a play I think we're going to see for a while where he trips. He actually has the right guard step on his leg as he's trying to pull out from the center. Falls down, stumbles, gets up. He said he was going to throw it away, but he didn't see anybody. Then they close in. If they tackle him or touch him while he's on the ground, the clock is pretty much going to run out. Mm-hmm. Kansas City's going to win. And instead, he finds pay dirt as he breaks a tackle to get out of it. And they come from behind and win by a field goal, 31-28. That was amazing to me, and I just kept thinking, the Chiefs got chiefed.
They did.
And Trevor Lawrence became Mahomes. Changing of the guard, maybe, because now here is a 4-1 Jacksonville team. That's impossible.
Yeah,
but it is. And the Chiefs are 2-3. Now, they're not out of the playoffs. We have 17 games now. But the Chiefs are not the Chiefs. They look vulnerable. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I have been shocked that the Jaguars are right now the team leading the AFC South because I'm very fond of the AFC South. My Titans are in there, and Titans, I mean, we are absolutely atrocious right now. But to see how the standings are right now, I mean, you can even rope in the Colts of there with Indiana Jones. I mean, the top
Colts are good.
Colts are good this year. Jaguars are good this year, and everyone who thought was going to run away with it, the Texans, are faltering right now. It seems like all the good teams that we thought that were out there are just not living up to the hype this year.
I'm not going to close the book on the Chiefs, but they don't They don't appear to be the team that won a couple of Super Bowls. That's I think for sure.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk, by the way. Steve Arrett has the day off. We're about to hook up with Shane Bynum, who is the president of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Festival Association. That's a one-year term, and we're going to talk with the former Tiger football player, and we'll chat with him in just a minute. A couple of other notes. One in particular, the UFL has finally established what 8 teams will be in their league. They do have 2 new teams. Columbus is now, that's Columbus, Ohio. They are going to be called the Aviators. I think the Showboats team moves to Louisville. There's something to that, right? Memphis moves to Louisville. Rival city gets the Memphis team. They're going to be called the Kings. Orlando gets a team. They're all playing in soccer stadiums, by the way. They will be called the Storm. Houston stays as the Gamblers. Dallas is now going to be in as the Renegades. Birmingham stays. St. Louis stays because that's the best of all the teams. They draw almost like an NFL team. They're the only real successful UFL team. And then there's DC that won the title a year ago. So those are the teams that are now in the UFL, and officially it's over. We knew that. We didn't know where they were going to go. Now we know because they announced that this morning. And Columbus and Louisville and Dallas are really, because it was Arlington before, they're named. They're going to play in a soccer stadium. Maybe it's in Frisco. I don't know, but they're calling them the Dallas Renegades. In the meantime, as I sit in the family leisure studio and remind you the world's biggest spa sale is still going on. It's where you can get a spa at under $3,000. You can get the bigger ones, the swim spas. That's where you sort of stay in place, and it's like jogging on a treadmill. You don't really go anywhere, but you're putting out the effort. They're really cool, and they're big, and you can get those things up to 30% off, and the floor model specials are even cheaper than that. If you want the cold plunges, that's the new thing with ice in there. You can get those at under $5,000. You still get the free umbrella, which is not a cheap thing, if you buy a select patio furniture set. It's all going on. It's the world's biggest spa sale happening at Family Leisure. We go cross town, and we're going to talk to a former Tiger football player who just so happens to be the prez of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Festival Association. That is Sean Bynum. Good morning, Sean. How are you today?
Good morning, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So I got to ask you a little bit about your Tiger tenure and what you think of the team this year. You were actually signed by Ray Dempsey, but never played for him. You played for Charlie Bailey. How did all that work out?
I graduated in 85.
Sean, if I could get you, are you on a speakerphone? If I could get you in a little better connection, because you sound like you're in a tunnel.
Is that better?
Slightly better. Slightly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I graduated in May in 85.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. Signed under Dempsey, came and played for Bailey. Of course, when I came, like I said before, my room was Sammy Seals, Charles Wilson, Jerry Harris. And that group, coach under Coach Fox as a position coach. And, those were the years we had great defensive backs. We ranked in the nation as our defensive backs. And, of course, those were not great winning seasons, but, fast forward to now, I'm excited to see what we're doing now. I just want us to keep moving and keep winning.
I must ask you, you've seen this defense now, and Russell Copeland, who also was a very good player, played on a team with Denton Bartow's defense. He's saying that right now, this defense that we see, this is a little after you were a player,
right.
He is saying this this defense is the best he's seen since that Danton Bartow defense, which, by the way, beat USC in the Coliseum when they were ranked 5th in the country. They turned out to be not a very good team, but that was a shining moment for Memphis football for sure. What's your impression of this year's defense?
I tell you, I'm excited. You know, that they run to the ball, they're aggressive, they tackle. You know, at very athletic. You know, but my thing, I look at the skill position players on offense as well. Great receivers, you know, running backs. They got a well-rounded team, man. I'm really excited about the team.
Yeah, and a lot of nice projections, that is for sure. Okay,
Yep.
so you got this job in the spring, I guess it is, when they do that little kickoff ceremony. And what have you learned about the bowl business while you've had this tenure? You're a businessman yourself. Anything you were surprised about, or what your duties are?
Well, you know, I've been observing for years, you know, working with Steve and, you know, talking with Becky. This was the one that kind of preceded me. And no, it's pretty much, you know, what I expected. You know, I'm excited about the economic impact we bring to Memphis, you know, since we've accepted $1.1 billion impact to the city. We've raised over $6 million for St. Jude. And last year to the bowl itself, we had 4.2 million viewers. So I'm excited to be associated and affiliated with that.
All right, now, who would you like to see in this bowl? You used to be you would be involved in the selection process. Of course, now the commissioners of both the SEC and the Big 12 are the ones that really do that. But if you had your druthers, who would you like to see?
I would love to see the Auburn-Houston matchup. You know, I looked at Auburn and Iowa State, but, you know, I like the brand of ball that Houston plays. It's exciting. I know a lot of people like to see Mississippi State and Cincinnati, but myself personally, Auburn and Houston excites me.
It's interesting. So I looked at all these projections. I looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different projections. Mm-hmm. Auburn is actually in 4 of the predictions.
Yep.
Cincinnati, Iowa State, Houston, and TCU. So they've had 4 different teams playing against Auburn. And we'd see our friend Hugh Freeze return home. The other one is Cincinnati is in it against South Carolina. So a couple of Cincinnati predictions, only the one South Carolina on the SEC side. So basically, most likely it's going to be Auburn, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different choices that come your way from the Big 12.
That's correct. And, you know, BYU and TCU, they're exciting as well. But I think that Auburn and Houston would be a great matchup for us.
I wonder, when you think about crowds, which is the best? Auburn would be great because it's fairly close. Those guys could drive. Which of the Big 12 do you think would bring the most people? We've had Iowa State here a couple of times. Memphis has played them. Houston's a long way away, but they got a history with this school. So does Cincinnati. Right. Cincinnati's not that far. You could drive that.
Correct. And, you know, Auburn, as far as the draw, you know, for us, I think Auburn and Cincinnati would be great. They can get here easily. And Mississippi State and Cincinnati would be great for us as well. But, again, I think as far as viewership, I like Auburn and Houston.
Auburn and Houston would be the Sean Bynum pick. I like that.
Absolutely.
What do you guys do now from here until January 2nd? What's the main thrust?
Well, we're gearing up for the high school all-star game, of course. That's going to be held December 13th at Memphis University School. We got the President's Gala, January 1st. And then also, you know, we got several events, parades, fashion shows, rodeos. So got a lot going on between now and January 2nd.
I know you do. Plus, you got a big business to run, too. That's Sean Bynum. Appreciate it. Really enjoyed playing with you in that Paige Robbins golf tournament yesterday. That was quite a bit of fun, and I hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That's Sean Bynum. He is the prez of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl Festival Association this year, doing a terrific job. He would like to see Auburn and Houston. All these projections, I have no idea how accurate they are. Of course, you got to become bowl eligible in order to make it. But everybody seems to be thinking it's Auburn on its way here. And if it is, that would be okay with me just because I like the Hugh Freeze storyline. Welcome back, the former Briarcrest women's girls basketball coach, who was brilliant, by the way, at that, and, of course, football coach as well. We've got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some baseball, LDSs, front and center, maybe some awards from our baseball guy, Tim Doolin. He comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ready to shine, Memphis? Drive clean all month long with unlimited wash plans at Club Car Wash. Stop by any 4 Club locations in Greater Memphis or visit clubcarwash.com today.
Club Car Wash. Join the club.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Life's too short to blend in, so embrace your extraordinary style today at Sissy's Log Cabin. From everyday pieces to statement jewelry, you'll find something here for every occasion. Celebrate with exquisite quality, brilliant natural diamonds, and unmatched service you'll only find at Sissy's when you stop by any of our 7 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. You deserve the style of your dreams, and you'll find it at Sissy's Log Cabin.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We welcome you back in. We're going to talk some baseball with our baseball guy, Tim Doolin. We'll let you know he is brought to you by Ken. That's Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Is it time? You've been saving all your life, thinking about it. Maybe you've gotten property that's been in your family forever, and you're now wanting to pull the trigger. You want to build that dream home. Here's the guy, because if you go back 80 years and you look at Ken Garland Jr.'s father, who started the business, then you see what Ken's done now. They have a third generation in the business. William is all a part of it. You will be amazed if you go to kengarland.com to see what they have done, whether it's these dream homes that have been built all throughout the Metroplex, or if you are looking at renovation, older homes that don't have modern amenities but in a great location, and you love your lot. It feels like that old comfortable shoe. You don't want to give that up, but you want the California closets, the movie room with the speakers in the wall and the theater seating. You want all those great things. They know how to do that. I call that renovation with innovation. They have this, all three generations, one thing in common. They see the little details of everything, and you need that when you're in the construction business, but they see the big picture all at once. And what they'll tell you is the job really is never done. I mean, it could be 6 months, 8 months after they've completed the job, a year, and something goes wrong. They're right there because they know they're part of your family too. It's that cool a deal. So if you're ready for that dream home or that renovation with innovation, there's only one place to go. That's Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. We cross town to talk baseball. Tim Doolin, what is your biggest surprise? That the Phillies at home, who were really cruising into the postseason, have lost 2 to your Dodgers, or the Yankees have given up 23 runs in 2 games in Toronto? Anything else? What's the biggest surprise you've seen so far in the LDSs?
I think both of those are right there together. I think the biggest thing for the Yankees is how many runs they've given up. I mean, you know, they've got the best slugging in all of baseball, and you know, as we talk about this all the time when it comes playoff time, Wolo, is that good pitching shuts down good hitting, and it's definitely working for the Blue Jays. It's not working for the Yankees.
Well, they did give up 7 runs in game 2, but when you give up 13, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the other thing is that with the Phillies and the Dodgers, the Dodgers are never out of a game. You think the Phillies, you know, getting 3 runs early on Shohei, they're like, okay, we got a really good shot of winning this first game, and then they just stayed around, and then you look up, and that lineup with the Dodgers is they've got guys 1 through 9 that can do damage. So you can't coast at all.
I am really shocked. I think if you ask Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, what their goal was, it would have been to split, to go back to L.A. with a chance to win the series, best of 5. To be up 2-love, that and going home to L.A., I mean, that's done, isn't it? It's a finished series.
Yeah, I think it is. And I tell you, one of the things that I think people are not talking about today, I don't think, but I think the one thing the Dodgers learned is Dave cannot go to Trainer. Trainer's not had a good year. Yesterday was very subpar for him. He was elevating his fastball, and they were squaring him up on the regular. I think the Dodgers are fortunate to get out of there without losing that game, and you know, Dave Roberts would be getting some heat for A, putting Trainer in, and B, for leaving him in. So I don't think you're going to see Trainer much in the rest of the way out.
And the Cubs Brewers, that's 2-0 Milwaukee, and you know, I almost think that's over too. But I will say at least you got the next 2 in Wrigley. How do you see that thing ending? And are you surprised the Cubs couldn't win one of those games in a reunion of sorts for their manager, Greg Counsell?
I am a little bit surprised, Wolo, but I'll tell you, we bragged about the Brewers the whole year.
No, we did.
Complete game, the way they pitch at defense, they run the bases, they hit, and even though they really haven't hit over the course of the year with a huge amount of power, now all of a sudden they got guys hitting balls over the fence. That just makes it very difficult, and that's why they're up 2-0 on the Cubs. And I don't think the Cubs can do it. I'd love to see the Cubs, win 2 games and push it to a 5th game. But I tell you, if the Brewers win this, they're going to give the Dodgers all they can handle. Their rotation, their bullpen. They bring a guy in yesterday that was just sitting 100 to 103 with a 98-mile-an-hour slider. I mean, it's crazy how this guy can
that
pitch.
guy actually threw 104. I think it was in Game 1 against the Cubs.
Yeah.
And they got Peralta, they got that other big kid, Mizrowski. I mean, they're dynamic. They're really good, and they got a decent lineup, and they got really good pitching.
Yes, they do. So I think, if you're the Dodgers and you are thinking you're going to win that, you really are hoping the Cubs can push it out, to get into that rotation and bullpen a little bit heavier going into that next series, because it's going to be, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if it is the Brewers and the Dodgers, I think that's going to go 7 games.
The one series that has drama thus far is Seattle and Detroit. That thing tied 1-1. The Mariners, I think, have been the story of baseball this year. Do they end up edging Detroit in this? Detroit,
I don't know.
Which was so good early and then folded and yet came back and beat Cleveland and it become the hottest team.
Well, you got Scooble that's going to be able to pitch again. I think this could go 5 games. I would call it a toss-up. Both teams are really, really good. Like you said, Detroit faltered toward the end, but as of late, they're playing pretty good. So I think that's going to be an interesting series, and I think it will go 5 games.
So, do you see the Yankees-Toronto series getting closer? Can Toronto put them away in Yankee Stadium?
I think so, just because they're playing too good, and the Yankees obviously have, their opponents, especially in this series, the Blue Jays have figured out how to pitch those guys, and they're scuffling. So I got to think the Blue Jays. This is their year. I think the Blue Jays are going to win the division. I think they're going to. I mean, they're the American League. I think they're going to be in the World Series.
If Seattle and Detroit goes to Game 5, who wins that game? That would be in Seattle, correct?
Yeah, I think it would be. I'm not sure if Scooble pitches Game 4 or 5. If Scooble's on the mound, I'd probably lend to think that the Tigers would win that game. Yep.
So a Toronto. I don't think that's what New York, the TV would like to see. They absolutely want the Yankees in it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But a Toronto-Detroit, which is really not that far from one, and it's not like Windsor right over the border, which is, Detroit is on that border, but it's much further south. Which do you want? Do you think TV wants to see? I think they would love for the Cubs to come back for an LA Chicago. That would be market 2 and 3. I don't think the Yankees can come back. So you're going to get Toronto and either Seattle or Detroit. Which one do you think TV wants?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think our view is kind of it's just. Yeah, you'd love to see the Dodgers, but who you pick on the American League side is just, it's the lesser of 2 evils, because I just don't think there's a great watch other than true baseball fans loving to see good players. But as far as the TV viewership, I don't think it matters to them.
And their numbers are up. It's been a good year for baseball. There's no doubt about that. You had decent races down toward the end. I don't think I have seen, and Joe Dank may have that tomorrow, what the wild card ratings were like. But the regular season ratings were up this past year.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. I think they've done some good things. I think the pitch clock has definitely helped.
I love
the
it.
Game flowing. I think it's been good. And so, and you got a lot of good young teams, a lot of good young stars that are rising, that are making names for themselves. So I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing the viewership, gaining ground over the years past.
I think that pitch clock has really and truly helped the game. I think home runs a little bit have helped the game because we know how much people love that. Just go back to the Bonds, McGuire, Sosa era when home runs were popping all the time. Some of that was PED, but it was an exciting era. That is for sure. The one thing I don't quite like, and I guess it was also as part of the package to speed things up, but you can't throw over to first base 2 times in a row. I did not realize that until I watched it in a playoff game, and the pitcher got penalized.
Right. Well, I think it's the third time you have to. If you pick the third time and you don't pick him off, he gets the next base. I think that's right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I might be.
So maybe it's a third time. I
It's the
wasn't
third
sure.
time.
Third
It's the third time.
Okay.
It's the third
So then
time.
he gets because the reliever. I can't even remember which game I was watching. I watched so many of them. But he threw over there for a third time. Obviously,
Right.
I thought it might be 2 times in a row, but it was a third time. That makes more sense.
That's right.
And they gave
Yeah.
him second base. And
Right.
I think that's a part of the speed up package, right?
Yeah, it is because I mean, typically if you're trying to, let's say you're trying to get a guy hot in the bullpen really, really fast because of some situation. I mean, a lot of times they would just tell the pitcher to keep picking, and it's just a delay of games, tactic. So that's part of the reason, and I think that's the main reason is just to speed the game up. It's not so much, strategic per se.
When they give out postseason awards, it's always based on the regular season because let's face it, the World Series has its own MVP, and I believe it maybe the NLCS and the ALCS do too. But if you were picking the MVP this year in the National League and the American League, I think they're actually pretty easy. Give me your National League star this year.
I mean, it's got to be Shohei. I mean, no one's doing what he does. I mean, he pitches it at a high level and obviously hits and impacts the game in many ways. So that's kind of a no-brainer. I think on the American League side, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I still think you got to give it to Cal Raleigh.
Oh yeah,
just for the year that he put up, the impact he had on their club, most valuable player. And so I think he wins it. Yeah, you're going to have arguments for Aaron Judge. There's no question he's a superstar and could easily be the MVP, but I think it would be fitting, not from a sentimental value because you can't go on that, but I think just the numbers of what he's done as a switch hitting catcher.
Oh yeah, I don't think
it's ridiculous.
I don't think it's even close, right? Because first of all, he had the greatest home run hitting season of any catcher in the history of baseball. And what he and Mickey Mantle have hit the most as a switch hitter. So there's 2 historical perspectives on him, plus which he led his team to the division title. Aaron Judge did not do that for the Yankees. Aaron Judge had a great start, had a good finish, and a terrible middle part of the year. How could you even consider Judge over Cal Raleigh?
No, you're exactly right. And so, but I'll bet you the voting is going to be closer than it should be.
Well, it's because he plays in New York.
That's right.
That's the only reason why. And a lot of people don't even see Cal Raleigh because he's 3 hours later. And all those people in New York and a lot of those voters are sleeping by then. Manager of the year in both. For me, I don't think you could go with the Milwaukee manager, but I think the Phillies were so good all year long too. I would go with Rob Thompson. And by the way, I guess the one guy I would consider besides Ohtani might have been Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, I wouldn't. He wasn't even in my top group. I don't know why. I just don't think you can give it to a DH like that. Anyway, I think that Dan Wilson in the American League, obviously what the Mariners have done, I think he's very deserving and should win it. The National League, I think it's just flip a coin between Dan Wilson and to be honest with you, I do think the Brewers manager should probably get it.
He gets consideration for sure.
Yeah,
they have the best record in baseball.
Not only that, Wolo, but I mean, here's a guy that just was a bench coach and then obviously took over for Counsell, and he's just kept it going. He didn't try to reinvent it; he just kept it going. And these guys, the reflection of the best manager are how the players perform for you, right?
Right.
And he's obviously got them playing a little bit of an old school play hard all the time. It's funny because the old crusty, managers, you think they make it very very intricate and difficult, but it's pretty simple. Be on time and play really hard. And they just manage the game. And when you get the right guys in that clubhouse that buy into that, which is hard to do in today's world with all the contracts that are out there, free agency, you got trades that are constantly being rumored about. But to get all those guys to rally around your philosophy and your vision of how we're going to win, he's done that. And so I'm not saying Rob Thompson hasn't done it, but I think you got to look at the body of work, that he's put forth, and I would give it to the Brewers.
Along those lines, which is the better storyline this year? The Brewers, the best record in baseball, or Cal Raleigh and his miraculous year and the rise of the Seattle Mariners?
I think the latter. I think unless you really are in the game, you don't realize how taxing it is on a catcher. I mean, this guy's getting to the park probably earlier than anybody. He's going through the scouting reports. He's going through, all of the analytics. He's meeting with his pitchers. He's getting on the same page with them, and he's having to. And really, most teams, prioritize the catcher as can he catch and throw? Can he call a good game? And then, by the way, if he hits, great. If he hits with power, better. By the way, we got a switch hitter that can hit for power. So right. I think that's the biggest story for me, and it's just not just the year that he's had, but just the evolution that he's had of continuing to get better over the last 4 or 5 years. That to me is equally as important.
All right, next week we'll have the LCSs all getting ready to go, so we'll be chatting about that. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you.
All right, Wolo, thank you.
That is our man on baseball. That is the one and only Tim Doolin. We've got to take a break. When we come back, the Tigers are front and center. The beat writer for the Commercial Appeal is Jonah Dillon. He comes your way in just a minute.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Maria's Cantina in South Haven is not your average Tex-Mex joint because they're serving up Mexican with a twist. Maria's Scratch Kitchen is the most creative and diverse menu around. Beyond the traditional huge quesadillas, chimichangas, and fajitas, Maria serves up hand-rolled Latin egg rolls, Cajun and Creole items like catfish, gumbo, and boudin balls, as well as the best sandwiches and 8-ounce burgers in town. Wash it all down with a house margarita for only $5.50 and happy hour every day till 6. MariasCantina.com, 6717 Airways, Mexican with a twist.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Here's what sets NST Law apart. They don't just work in Memphis, they ride for Memphis. From school fundraisers to courtroom battles, they show up where it matters. And when someone in this city gets hurt, NST goes toe-to-toe with insurance giants. No fear, no favors. It's not just the law to them, it's loyalty. And if you ever need backup after a crash, NST's got your back. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or check out nstlaw.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Ready to shine, Memphis? Save big on Club Car Wash's Best Wash this Tuesday for just $12. Stop by any 4 club locations in Greater Memphis or visit clubcarwash.com to learn more.
Club Car Wash. Join the club.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
What a week for Memphis football. They're the only bowl-eligible team in the country. They got the longest winning streak of any team in the country at 10 games now. And they finally got ranked 23 in the AP, 25th in the coaches poll. The guy that writes all about that in the commercial appeal is Jonah Dillon. Halfway through the year, you wrote a story about what Ryan Silverfield thinks about his team and evaluated the ball club at the halfway mark. What did you get out of all of that? Good morning, Jonah.
Yeah, good morning. I mean, it was kind of the turnovers on both sides of the ball are the things that he highlighted, right? Obviously, forcing 4 takeaways in the win over Tulsa, very impressive defensively, especially the fact that they're forcing takeaways kind of in different ways, different players popping up every week. And then the thing that he was kind of concerned about was, on the other side, ball security. There's been a couple fumbles that have been recovered, and then obviously the interception from Brandon Lewis in that game. I think definitely something they want to get cleaned up as they head into the second half of the season.
I was impressed with, you mentioned the takeaways, and the different guys that have stepped up as a symbol or a sign of what their depth is like. Because you got to consider, Whitlow goes out, so they're without a starter there. Russo, the outside linebacker who's tied for second in tackles on this team, was out from the get-go, and then Cooper got hurt in the game, and you got a backup. A guy I never even knew about that much, Israel Simpson, who comes in, and he makes an interception. So they're doing this stuff without 3 starters and using backups.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story of probably the defense, but really the whole team. The depth was the thing, kind of going back to the offseason. All the coaches, pretty much the entire offseason, were talking about this team has a lot of depth, this team has a lot of depth. And obviously you're kind of hearing that and thinking, okay, well, let's see how it plays out. And now we're here halfway through the season, and it's like, especially on defense, there's been a lot of guys who have stepped up in different games. Like Chris Bracey is someone who's kind of emerged in multiple different games, but he hasn't even been a starter the entire season, right? And so on defense, it's interesting to look at last year. They were improved defensively, but it was really a core of guys, and those guys were good players, but they didn't have a lot of depth behind them, and you saw that last year when there were injuries, like when Elijah Herring was injured, the level kind of dropped. You're looking at this defense, and like you said, guys go out at every part of the defense, and somebody else comes in and they start making plays, right? Samson Israel comes in, gets an interception. They've got a lot of linebackers that they like, even with Rousseau being out. And that rotation up front, I know they'd like to get to the quarterback more and get some sacks, but they've been really solid up front with their defensive line rotation as well.
I mean, just to show the depth of linebacker, when it began this season, at middle linebacker, you had Brumfield, who's turned out to be great. You had actually Matheny as your second stringer and Cruz as your third. And now Cruz has become, I think, a heck of a player behind Brumfield.
Yeah, he's been one of the standouts so far this season. And then, I mean, you look at the other guys. Drew Watts, I think, has been really
great.
Good for them.
Yeah, and Kamari Wilson.
And then, Kamari Wilson, I think, after looking at it kind of broad strokes for the whole first half of the season, Kamari Wilson feels like the standout player on defense so far. The way that he's kind of commanding things from that safety position and just how hard he hits every time he tackles somebody, right? It feels violent. It feels like he's coming after them. And then obviously he's been popping up with the interceptions 2 of the last 3 games. And so that's been a really positive sign for Memphis to have somebody back there who's playing at the level that he is.
This is a little like eye candy, just kind of fun, but I'm sure you've been, like I have, looked at all the college football playoff projections and the possible bowl games that you could go to. What do you make of all of that? And in the end, I'm pretty sure the champion of the American is going to be the team that represents the group of 4 in the playoff.
Yeah, you would think for now. I mean, there's still some things that obviously, like you said, it's early. I think there's a couple teams out there that are still kind of in the mix outside of the American, but certainly the American clearly is in the driver's seat. It's going to depend on how those games shake out, what the matchup is in the championship game, and things like that. But it's gone pretty much as well as you could have hoped for if you're a fan of any team in the American. You look outside of the American, I think, there's a couple of teams that have Old Dominion, obviously, with the Power Conference win, and James Madison is going to play them in a couple weeks. That's a big game.
So one of those gets eliminated. I was going to bring that up. ODU and JMU eliminate one, and I don't know that they have the resume. What ODU? They've got a Power 4 win, don't they?
ODU has a win over Virginia Tech, and then they played Indiana pretty close, which is looking better and better as Indiana is now a top 10 team.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that they're in the driver's seat or anything, but they're certainly alive. And if they win that game over JMU, then they're a team that you have to keep an eye on. Elsewhere, I think UNLV, you're going to have to keep an ey on them too. They're undefeated, right? So you can't. I know the resume isn't necessarily there. They did beat UCLA. That's a Power Conference win. And if they keep winning, that would include a win over Boise State. They're going to play them in a couple weeks as well.
Where is that game? Do you know? Because Boise's just an average team, and I think Notre Dame really showed that. Not a bad team, but an average team. I don't know that UNLV is that good. If you look at the comparison of scores against mediocre teams, they don't appear to be a great team. And if JMU, if Boise beats them, then I think that eliminates the Mountain West.
Yeah, probably. I just think, look, as long as they keep winning, and certainly I don't know that anyone's going to pick them to keep doing that, but as long as they keep winning, you got to keep an eye on them. I still think, again, as long as there's not an undefeated UNLV, a one-loss American champion it feels like is in the right spot right now, because whoever that American champion is going to have to beat some of these other teams, and obviously going to have to win in the conference championship game over a really good team. So I think you're in a good spot. I just think that those teams, look, it's midseason, it's still early. Those are the teams that are still kind of in the mix. It wouldn't be shocking if they ended up, the things broke right for them and they ended up there. But if you had to say right now who's most likely to be the Group of 5 representative in the playoff, it's going to be the American champion.
Well, and let's take a look at that, because you write the Power Index every week, which you've shuffled, rightfully so, by wins and by losses and positioning. And you've got Memphis 1, you've got South Florida 2, and I think you've got Tulane 3, 1, 2, 3. And I will tell you that as I look at all these projections from different places, like most of them have Memphis, several of them have USF. One of those, I think it was Athlon, that has Tulane or that might have been USA Today. One of them has Tulane as the G5 representative. How do you think all that's going to play out? I know that's a tough question.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair. I think you can make the case for all those teams. To me, when I'm doing my power rankings, as the season goes on, resume becomes more and more important, and Memphis being undefeated right now is giving them the advantage over those teams, especially because both those teams had losses where they weren't competitive. Now, obviously, those losses were against top 5 teams, so I don't think you need to hold that against them too much. And I think, like you said, all 3 of those teams, and obviously you got to throw North Texas and Navy in there because they're both undefeated as well.
You do.
Those teams are all playing well right now. So I think you're looking at Memphis, and suddenly, if you look at my power rankings, Memphis, after that UAB game, is going to play 4 of the top 6 teams. So the only team that Memphis doesn't play in the top 6, obviously besides themselves, is North Texas. And so that's going to be really interesting. We look at how these teams have played so far this season, and in the conference, there has not really been a big game yet between 2 teams that are kind of up there. Now, that's going to change this week because huge game on Friday night, North Texas hosting South Florida. That's going to tell us a lot about those teams. And then, obviously, on Thursday, too, you've got Tulane against ECU. So I think we're going to learn a lot this weekend even before we get to Saturday, about where this conference is heading in the second half of the season.
All right, let's look at that North Texas team against USF. I mean, USF is such a powerful team because they have a great defensive front, and they got a great quarterback that Memphis did not have to see a year ago. But North Texas, I think, has surprised some people. How do you see that game going?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that North Texas is favored. I know it's close. I think they were 1.5 point favorites or something. That's really the prove-it game for them. They've done some really good things so far this season. They've looked really good. They've had a couple of tough games on the road, but obviously this one is at home. And if you've been following it, they've been doing everything they can to make sure that they get a good crowd out for that game, canceling classes, offering people free stuff to go to the game. So we'll see what the crowd ends up being like. South Florida, the jury's still out on them because they've had a couple of games, obviously that big win against Florida and then the bad loss against Miami, the big win over Boise State to start the year. But they've had a game last week against Charlotte. They didn't look great. They had a lot of problems with drops. Defensively, they kind of let go of the rope a little bit. The game was over in the second half, so it was never competitive.
They scored 50 points in that game.
Yeah, no, I just think defense. Look, North Texas, if there's one thing they can do under Eric Morris for the past couple of years, it's put up points. And the reason that South Florida was getting so much praise early in the season was because of their defense. We know about their offense. So I'm interested to see that. That's the matchup for me on Friday, is how does South Florida's defense play against North Texas' offense? If they hold them and it's not a shootout type game, then you've got to really, really take South Florida seriously. I mean, if they can go get this win on the road, then, potentially they're, again, in the driver's seat. Obviously, they're going to come to Memphis. They have to win that game, too. For North Texas, if they win this game, you look at their schedule the rest of the way, suddenly you've got to really consider this team a contender to make it to the conference championship game. This is probably the biggest game on their schedule, and they don't have to play Memphis, right, as we've talked about. So if North Texas wins this game, then suddenly we have to have a much different conversation about who really is the contender to get to the conference championship game and where Memphis is in that picture, because I think North Texas with a win over South Florida is suddenly maybe a favorite to at least be one of those two teams in that game in December.
All right, and then it's a toss-up between Tulane, Memphis, and South Florida, and all three will play each other. So North Texas, you're right, has the much easier way to go on that, and you have to win the conference championship to be considered for that position as the group of 5 reps. So it's going to be really, really interesting. All right, in about a minute, let me know what you think the Tigers really have to work on with this bye week before they head to Birmingham.
Yeah, obviously we talked about the injuries, so heal up a little bit, especially those guys on defense. I think that's going to be a big deal moving forward. I think, the turnover is going to be a big problem offensively. We saw, I think, pretty positive signs against Tulsa in the passing game because Tulsa, they didn't have a lot of success against Memphis, period, but they did do a pretty good job against the run, which is kind of the thing that Memphis had done really well, obviously, so far this season. I still think there's going to be a game this year where Memphis is going to have to pass the ball consistently down the field. Brandon Lewis is going to have to throw for 300 yards or something. That would be a career high. And so continuing to work on, obviously, Cortez Braham has emerged as that number one receiver. There's got to be somebody else who's consistently at that level. Jamari Hawkins had a really good game.
Hello.
Yep.
He's
on Saturday.
He's
and
the
so
guy.
Jamari Hawkins looks like the guy. And so obviously we saw it on Saturday. Let's see it moving forward consistently with those types of plays, those deep shots to Jamari Hawkins. I think that gives this offense a different dynamic. If they can do that consistently moving forward, and he's going to have more 100-yard games, I think then they're in a really good spot.
I'll tell you what, if he stretches them out a little bit more, like he's capable, or even C.J. Smith, who just has not really lived up to the billing, watch for Matt Adcock. I think he's a guy who could make some catches if it's stretched out underneath. And he showed us the last game he can catch. He scored his first touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's plenty of opportunity, like we've been saying, besides Cortez Braham, for somebody to get those plays and score those touchdowns in the pass game. So Matt Adcock, there you go. He's got one in the last game. Maybe that continues something moving forward.
Thank you, Jonah. We appreciate it. Enjoy your week off.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, that is Jonah Dillon, beat writer of the Tigers in the Commercial Appeal. That'll do it for us. I'm going to be off for the next week. Landon Schmidt with my guests will be carrying on. Look forward to all of that. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everybody.